Australia shuts its doors. Far-right Israeli politician Simcha Rothman, visa cancelled, banned for 3 years. Canberra calls it a stand against hate and division. Jerusalem hits back, revoking Australian visas, accusing antisemitism. As recognition of a Palestinian state deepens the rift, a diplomatic clash erupts, with embassies, security and free speech on the line. Israel's foreign minister has revoked the visas of Australian representatives to the Palestinian Authority, citing Australia's unjustified refusal to grant visas to Israeli figures and its intention to recognise Palestinian statehood. In a post on August 18th, Gideon Saar said the decision was made following the Albanese government's cancellation of Simcha Rothman's visa on the same day.
I decided to revoke the visas of Australian representatives to the Palestinian Authority. The Australian ambassador to Israel was just notified on the matter. This follows Australia's decisions to recognize a Palestinian state, and against the backdrop of Australia's unjustified refusal to grant visas to a number of Israeli figures, including former Minister Ayelet Shaked and the chairman of the Knesset's Constitution, Law and Justice Committee, MK Simcha Rothman.
The foreign minister also said he had instructed the Israeli embassy in Canberra to carefully examine any official Australian visa application for entry to Israel.
I also instructed the Israeli embassy in Canberra to carefully examine any official Australian visa application for entry to Israel. While anti-Semitism is raging in Australia, including manifestations of violence against Jews and Jewish institutions, the Australian government is choosing to fuel it by false accusations, as if the visit of Israeli figures will disrupt public order and harm Australia's Muslim population. It is shameful and unacceptable.
Israel's diaspora minister, Amichai Chikli, meanwhile said,
Anti-Semitism in Australia reached unprecedented levels in 2024, with 2,062 incidents documented by the Executive Council of Australian Jewry, the worst since monitoring began in 2013, and a 4 times rise from 2023. These incidents ranged from vandalism, synagogue arson, physical assaults, death threats, and pro-Palestinian mob marches with ISIS and Al-Qaeda flags. Israeli public officials faced systematic boycotts, measures the Albanese government appears to reserve exclusively for Jews. For Australia's small Jewish community of roughly 100,000 people, the situation has become unbearable. Holocaust survivors describe reliving past trauma, while many Jews hide religious symbols in public or contemplate leaving the country altogether. The next special report on anti-Semitism by the government should begin with a record of the government's own anti-Semitic actions, the most hostile government toward the Jewish community since 1939.
Reacting to the development, Israel's former opposition leader, Benny Gantz, in his X post, said it was not only deeply misguided, but blatantly hypocritical.
MK Rothman and I have stark political and ideological differences, yet Australia's decision to bar him from entry is not only deeply misguided, but blatantly hypocritical. If only Australia fought the ravaging anti-Semitism, targeting its Jewish communities with the same fervor it banned representatives from the one and only democracy in the Middle East.
Earlier, Australian Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke confirmed on August 18th that Simcha Rothman's visa application had been cancelled.
Our government takes a hard line on people who seek to come to our country and spread division. If you are coming to Australia to spread a message of hate and division, we don't want you here. Under our government, Australia will be a country where everyone can be safe and feel safe.
Burke has previously barred the entry of other personalities and politicians with a history of controversial or offensive statements, including rapper Kanye West, the US law professor Khaled Beydoun, and the former Israeli minister Ayelet Shaked. Hours after the announcement, Israel responded in anger, revoking the residency visas of Australia's representatives to the Palestinian Authority and implementing other steps. Rothman, a member of the Religious Zionism Party, which is part of Benjamin Netanyahu's governing coalition, had been scheduled to speak at events in Australia in a matter of days, including a Sydney event August 28th hosted by the Australian Jewish Association. But his visa has been cancelled, and Simcha has been banned from travel to Australia for 3 years, a condition that is sometimes applied to a cancellation depending on the grounds it was cancelled on. The far-right politician once described Palestinian children in Gaza as enemies and called for Israel's total control of the West Bank. Rothman is an outspoken critic of a two-state solution and has supported US President Donald Trump's proposal to remove Palestinians entirely from Gaza, citing security concerns for Israel.
Britain should let Palestinians run away from Gaza, and if it does not, you are aiding and abetting a terrorist organization using them as human shields. Those refugees should not be accepted into Israel, however, because they are our enemies. And according to international law, treaties about refugees in a time of war, you don't let them conquer your country with refugees.
Meanwhile, Rothman, responding to the visa cancellation, accused the Albanese government of clear and blatant anti-Semitism.
In the decision to deny the visa, the Australian Home Affairs Minister claims that my presence and my words will have a serious impact on peace and the rule of law in Australia, meaning that the Islamist mob calling for the destruction of Israel on the streets of Sydney and Melbourne will not be happy about my presence. I was invited by the community in Australia due to anti-Semitic attacks on synagogues and a strong sense of alienation and hostility within the community. The Australian government's decision to deny me the opportunity to come and speak to my people, due to expressing simple and clear positions, is clear and blatant anti-Semitism that gives a boost to terrorism.
Bezalel Smotrich, the leader of Rothman's party, and who was sanctioned by the Albanese government in June, praised Rothman, saying, "In the face of all the anti-Semites in the world, the people of Israel stand behind you and support you."